Hi, Jenny. Thank you for being with us today for another partner case study here at Clovio. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, what you currently do?
Right. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure to talk to other people from the industry. For the people that don't know me, my name is Jenny Gonzalez. I grew up in affiliate marketing. This is all I've ever done in my adult life. And I started out as an affiliate manager, worked my way up to CEO on the advertiser side. 5 years ago, opened my own affiliate network called Rock Ahead. And then 2 years ago, started working on my own affiliate tracking platform called Trackfinity. So I do a little bit of everything that has to do with affiliate marketing.
Yeah, you're really ingrained in the affiliate marketing industry. And how did you start in this marketing?
So like everybody else, I fell into it. I don't think I know a single person who was like, oh, when I was little, I dreamt of being an affiliate marketer. I used to live in the States, moved to Barcelona, and I wanted to take advantage of being bilingual and started working as executive assistant for the CEO of this company. And the company was like super cool. It was like content, internet, whatever. But I was in my early 20s. So I was still deciding what I wanted to do with my life. And there was this guy who was even younger than I was, made like 4 times more money, had the coolest job because nobody understood what he did. He seemed like he was traveling the world, partying around, like he was living the life. And I was like, what does he do? He was the affiliate manager. And once I figured out what the affiliate manager job was, I decided to teach myself how to be an affiliate manager because I wanted to do the same thing. And I started Googling, like I'm a self-taught affiliate marketer, and we're talking like 15 years ago. So not a lot of resources. But I like worked my way into going to my first conference, getting a job as a junior affiliate manager, and then the rest is history. It's been like studying and working the whole time till now.
Entrepreneur from the beginning
Yeah, I guess hustler from the beginning.
as well, yeah. And how do you see the industry has evolved since then, as you mentioned 15 years ago?
It's gone a lot of places. Depending on the vertical, is more advanced or less advanced, but you see them all kind of developing at its own pace. But they're all moving forward. I think now it's a lot more difficult, right? But also we have a lot more tools for everything, for the advertiser and for the affiliate itself. I don't know if it's because now I'm working with the affiliate tracker, but I see affiliate programs everywhere. Before, when I was an advertiser, like I saw a lot of my competitors and other verticals, but now I feel like everyone and their mom has an affiliate program. And it does resonate with what other people are saying because acquisition cost is getting so expensive and it's getting really hard to advertise in a lot of different places. I think everyone is starting to realize that affiliate marketing is a valid channel. It's become a lot more mainstream. So I think it's getting bigger than ever. That is where I see the evolution.
Yeah, I think us at Cloud we also see it that way across all of our brands that deal with different verticals. It's definitely becoming widespread. Brands are starting to see the value of affiliate marketing. And as for you still, how have you kept up with this evolution? You mentioned that you started your brands, your companies, Roca, Trackfinity. How have those helped you stay on top of things?
I think more than starting the companies themselves is being a personal skill of mine that has helped me. And this is that I could talk to a wall. I talk to everyone. I'm constantly, when I go to conferences, when I catch up with people, all I do is trying to figure out what everyone is doing, what everyone is up to, what's working, what's not working, whether or not that aligns with what I'm doing or that's something that I can use at the time. I'm genuinely curious about the industry and how people do the things that they do. And that's how I end up in like new verticals or like with the tracker. is mostly from talking to people, finding out what they're running into, what they're trying, how they're doing things. And then also it's like a general database in my brain that I do a lot of like introductions, right? Even if I can't do business with you, but I know someone that could, like I just do that. So I think that general disposition makes people tell me what they're working on, what's doing. And like I do a lot of like free consulting. Like I love the brainstorming that comes with like chatting with people. Like, oh, have you tried this? And have you tried that? What about this? So more than the companies themselves, I think is the fact that I love what I do and I love talking to people that helps me keep up to date.
Yeah, and your main verticals are dating and iGaming, right?
So dating is where I grew up. I was born and raised into dating. Most of my advertiser experience comes from dating, which is good because it's a super competitive vertical. So there's a lot that other verticals haven't caught up to yet. Then there was gaming. Then I started getting into lead gen and finance. And like now with the tracker, I think I'm in every vertical. Because every time I have a new client from a different vertical, what I try to do is like, yes, how do you make money? What are you working on? And then I try to bring knowledge from other verticals to help them come up with ideas, maybe things that I haven't thought of. So what I do now is just like try to be like omni-vertical.
Yeah. So you mentioned that dating, there's a lot of other verticals that haven't caught up with dating in terms of affiliate marketing. You think that dating is still at the top of the market?
I think dating is at the top of the market as far as aggressiveness goes. You have to think about it. Like, it's an evergreen niche. People always, like, the more technology we have, the lonelier we feel. So that's like seeking for human connection makes them very willing to go for whatever is the flow, right? Because at the end of the day, it's the promise of companionship, the promise of fun, the promise of love, whatever it is a very human need to fulfill. So they're more willing to do stuff in the flows, which means in dating, you can be a lot more aggressive, a lot more creative, and a lot more technical than in other verticals. So I think as far as technology goes, very advanced. A lot of people, us particularly, all we do is API submission. Like at this point, we don't even send traffic to any landers. We send all the traffic to our own landers. There is a big cascade behind it, a big math algorithm that predicts where the lead is potentially going to make the highest EPC based on like a million different things. And then we work in a bunch of different business models. So anywhere from getting a double opt-in payout to API submission to selling on CPC is all fighting against each other. So I think compared to other verticals, that's very advanced. And the thing with dating is because the margin is so little, you have to work with everybody else. So collaboration is a lot more advanced in dating. And that comes not because people in dating are nicer, but because it is harder to be profitable.
It's necessary.
It's necessary. So I think eventually other verticals will get there when their margins shrink. So collaboration, creativity is insane.
It's also necessary.
It's also necessary because it's super saturated. And then technology. Again, because you can no longer be profitable just buying traffic and sending traffic to an advertiser's lander. You have to, the very best is breaking even on the traffic and then making your profit from like all the cross-selling that you're gonna do. So I think that's why it's more advanced. It's not necessarily because dating peeps are like smarter. It's just because it is absolutely necessary to stay profitable.
Yeah, it's survival.
It is survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
100%.
And are there any challenges, for example, related to tracking, since you deal more with that, in not only dating, but other verticals that you dabble in?
Gaming, I think, has a lot more tracking challenges than dating. Dating is incredibly transparent when it comes to tracking. There might be some like funky stuff going on the monetization of the advertiser side, but at that point you have already been paid. So that's another thing about dating. You're like, oh, I already got paid. You get paid very early on the funnel, and you understand that the advertiser is going to have to do whatever they have to do to be profitable on that traffic. So at that point, you're like, I'm already paid, I'm good. I see it with iGaming. Tracking is very far behind, like beyond my wildest dreams. iGaming is like dating in like 2012, maybe before. Like very, very far behind. It's starting to catch up, but it still has a long way to go. And then when I look at travel makes iGaming look like the future. Like we're still talking about affiliate programs running their stats on CSVs that they deliver to you every day and making the affiliates' life extremely difficult. So there's still a lot of challenges, a lot of like across different verticals. But little by little, hopefully, one program at a time, I'll be helping. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely. I think even for us as affiliate publishers, for Feeling Lucky, for example, which is our iGaming brand, we see definitely that struggle in terms of tracking, and then this generates certain discussions with brands trying to bring awareness to these tracking problems that will not only benefit us, but the brands as well. Yeah. And even best reviews, you were mentioning travel. We deal with medical alert systems, for example, where we also see the Excel still. And then we as the publishers have to resort to other tools like We Can Track to gain a little bit more insight into our links and what we're doing, because the brands themselves aren't able to take that step.
Which is wild to me. That to me, like I remember the first time someone told me that they were sending their stats on a CSV. And we're talking, I don't know, maybe 2010. And I thought that was wild. Like to hear that in this day and age, people are still doing that. Being an affiliate is already too hard as it is. Having to guess where your conversions and your money is coming from should not be part of the game.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, there are so many tools available, and they will be nothing if not helpful for both publishers and brands alike. So yeah, it's good that we have more tools appearing as we have Trackfinity and everything else. And it's time for brands and advertisers to start making good use of them.
The thing is, like,
implementing them.
From being an advertiser, like I know how much money you can waste by not tracking everything. Like it is wild. Like on Trackfinity, the way that the system is designed, you can go down to the customer level. Understand that if you pay for media buying, if an affiliate came in, everything that has ever happened with that single customer across your offers, you have there. And to me, that's the bare minimum granular data that you should be looking at as an advertiser to understand if you're wasting your money or not. Like who is making you the money? Like it is wild. Because imagine you have best reviews. If I know that as a source, your traffic for specific pages or specific articles is way more valuable than somebody else's, then it's a different conversation to have. I should be approaching you as the advertiser, like, hey, how can we scale, right? I already know this is magical unicorn traffic and I want to scale it. Like, can we partner up? Like, do I increase your budget, or just by increasing your cap, is that good enough? Or should we go on a partnership where if you don't have enough money to drive more like search engine traffic to those specific reviews that are benefiting me, like how do we make that happen? But that's a conversation you're never gonna have unless you have the data. And then on the other side of that, I could be paying the guy next door just as much money, and that's not the same quality. Like my lifetime value for those customers is not as high as yours, but you don't know what you don't know. right? So the idea is that the data is just the first step, and you can optimize what you don't track. And that's like the most basic concept of affiliate marketing.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the lifetime value of customers. That's something that we struggle with as publishers, is getting advertisers to see the lifetime value of customers. And if we don't have the proper tracking tools and we are making the proper use out of those, then that conversation gets lost in the middle. And even for us, it's harder to approach brands if they don't have access to those numbers. And we can tell from our side that things are working and there's promising stuff there, but they don't see it from their side because they don't have access to the same tools as we do, etc.
That's wild.
Yeah, and then it just makes everything difficult for both parties because they're also not getting the value that they could be out of our partnership.
100%. So here's the deal. This is like a slippery slope, right? As an advertiser, if I'm paying on any business model that is not rev share, then for sure, I'm not sharing what my lifetime value is. Because as a publisher, you decided you wanted to get paid differently, and that's fine. But if you're working on rev share, you should have full transparency on that, what lifetime value is, so that you can also scale. Because the more you scale, the more money you're going to make. But then regardless, that should be the single like KPI that you should know by heart. Yeah. What your lifetime value is at a geo level, at an age range, at a device level, and like not having that like tip of your finger is wild. Yeah. Because as an advertiser, like I get it, like on the dashboard for affiliates, you have your stats and that's all based on the business model that you're getting paid, whatever. But the back end for the advertiser, you should be able to slice and dice that data to understand who is running your most profitable campaigns. And that should be your bread and butter every single morning so that you can scale partnerships fast and understand how to make more money with the right people. It's not about having 2,000 publishers. It's about having those 10 guys.
The right ones.
Yeah. They're the right ones. They're going to scale your brand and you're going to be able to scale to the moon. And then the other channels help affiliates complement like that whole storytelling of the brand.
Yeah, definitely. Even for us, it's important to have access to those numbers so we can also detect the brands that work best and that we can leverage them best. So it's definitely important to have transparent tracking, having all the information readily available, so then you can also make informed decisions, both sides. For example, running PPC campaigns without proper tracking.
That is wild to me. Wild. Yeah. How anyone can expect you to spend your money on PPC because it's expensive. So how anyone can expect you to spend your budget on PPC without proper tracking is just like the crazy world to me. Because even with proper tracking, is a very, very dangerous game. You could burn your budget overnight and not know where it went. So to me, yes, I want the best converting brands, but I also want the brands that are going to work with me to make sure I know where my money's going and why. So that's just me. I'm wild like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. On our side, we ran PPC campaigns for our best reviews, for example. And we always focus a lot on tracking and having all of the information readily available. But still, sometimes it's difficult to make that connection with advertisers, making them see the value in pacing things correctly, and keeping things steady and consistent, and not starting a PPC campaign today and stopping it tomorrow because the results weren't overnight. It's important to keep things going. Like
depending on the vertical, sometimes you're looking like up to a year to back out on a PPC campaign. And as an advertiser, that's going to be not just like the first few sales, but it's the cross sales, it's like down to your internal like CRM, it's all these things. If you're not on top of your data, you cannot make predictions.
It adds up.
Of where that is going to happen. And if you like stopping and going any campaign, but especially media buying campaigns, is the easiest way to kill your long-term like scalability, because it is horrible for the publisher And honestly, it's just a disservice to the advertiser. But for that, you need to be on top of your tracking and your numbers in general. Like, I see this with a lot of people that come to, I do a lot of demos for Trackfinity, right? And I want to be there. I'm like right at the beginning, and I want to talk to the people, understand how they're running their programs, what they're doing. And it's insane to me, the amount of people that don't know their KPIs. I'll be like, oh, well, what's your average like customer lifetime value? And they'll be like, oh, it's good. Like, awesome. And what's your churn like? They were like, what do you mean? I'm like, okay, how long do people stay? What's the average length that someone will stay? What's the average cart value? Like these numbers that to me are like my ABCs before I start an affiliate program. Because how can you determine the payout to the affiliates? How can you be competitive? Like a lot of people just benchmark the market. And it's like, oh, if my competitor is paying $50 a conversion, that means that's the value of the conversion. But you don't know what they're doing on the back end. You could be paying the same $50 and be severely overpaying. Or on the other side, you could potentially pay $75 because you're doing things right internally. And now you have a crazy competitive advantage. But all of that comes from knowing your numbers by heart. And it's crazy the amount of people that don't know their numbers by heart.
Yeah, it also comes down to like education on the subject. You can present, as publishers, we can present advertisers with all the data and all the information. But if they don't have the necessary knowledge behind that, they won't make the right calls, informed decisions, etc. So it's also a matter of balancing the data and the knowledge, the education.
But do you think it's your job as a publisher?
Not necessarily, but sometimes you have to, and especially when you see real potential behind something, you make that extra efforts to bring some things to light and bring awareness to the places where we could be focusing on, the partnerships that we could be focusing on, and so on.
But it's very rare.
Yeah.
Like honestly, most of the time it should be the advertiser educating the publisher on like, hey, this is my age range. These are my best customers. I noticed that in the middle of Iowa, like if you find like males and females about this age range on this specific carrier, that's the sweet spot. It should be at the advertiser telling you. You don't have the numbers internally. You don't have their conversion rates. You don't have their KPIs. You have what you think has potential, but it's very, very rare that the publisher would take it on themselves to educate the advertiser. I think it's amazing that you guys do it, but I also find it very unfair.
Yeah, I think it's a discussion that I'm not sure if we're having more or what it is, but often brands, best reviews, software brands will ask us for like industry averages of the other brands. And you know, there's also a line that you can cross in terms of sharing information. So sometimes things can get a little bit tricky when advertisers aren't sure of their value of their offer and what they're looking for. And then it's hard for us as content publishers as well to demonstrate that. You come to us, but then we have to demonstrate what you're looking for.
Yeah. No. It's wild. I have a lot of people that'll be like, oh, what's your payout? It's like, how much do you need to make? I'm like, no, this is not how it works. Or sometimes, and this has happened so many times, that I get a new advertiser as rock ahead. And like day 3, you see that the EPC is like 50% higher than anybody else. Right away, you're like, hey, we need to lower the payout. You're like, what? It's like, no, you need to lower the payout. And they're like, why? I was like, because this is not going to be profitable and you're going to kill the campaign in a week. So I would much rather you lower the payout right now and then we have a long-term partnership than you don't know what you're doing, trying to overpay me and then get angry at me. But this is also very, very rare that a publisher will be like, oh, you're paying me too much. I just know that this is a very, very small industry and you're better off guiding them than being counterproductive and then losing money long term because someone didn't know what they were doing. But I see it all the time. They're like, oh, how much does so-and-so pay you? Like, don't worry about it. That's their problem. Like, how much the payout is means nothing. If you don't have the same conversion ratio, if you don't have the same CRM, if you don't have the same abilities. Or on the other side, if you're better, then also the payout doesn't make sense, because if your conversion is much higher, then you can afford to pay me a lot less, right? Like if someone has a new database, they're going to allow so many conversions in that they can afford to pay you a fraction of the price that someone that has a very saturated like database. But that's not my job. I should not be trying to explain you this. Like, no. As a publisher, I'm just like, no. Like, you should know this. I will tell you. Like, if I see like the train wreck coming, I'll be like, okay, we have an issue. But I see that a lot of advertisers, a lot of affiliate managers will be like, okay, how much do I need to pay you to be number one in the cascade? I'm like, that's not how it works. Like, you can pay me whatever you want. I want this to be profitable for you. Like, if you pay me all this money, but it's not profitable, guess what? We're still not going to have a deal. And then you can pay me as much as the guy next door, but if you don't have the same conversion, again, you're not going to be number one. So it's a very hard conversation to have, and one that you can only have with numbers in hand.
And one that you can only have so many times. You can explain things over and over, but if
so many times with the same person.
Yeah.
If it's like different people, you're like, here we go again.
Yeah, definitely. But with the same people and the same brands, etc., it's a conversation that sometimes just...
Okay, but that comes to bad training and lack of education for affiliate managers. Like I think, and this is like me, based on my own experience, that affiliate managers should feel like they're running a tiny little business within the business. They should be as aware of all the numbers as a CFO. Like, they should know profitability. They should know what their ongoing costs are, how much they can scale. They should know how everything works internally to understand how creative they can get with your campaigns and to fight for you internally. Because to me, that's the job of my affiliate manager. They should be fighting for my account internally to test stuff, to scale, to do whatever. Something that is wild to me, and this happens a lot in iGaming, they're like, oh no, this is my budget for the month. And you're like, excuse me? What do you mean your budget? Like, this is affiliate marketing. You're paying me for results. How can you have a budget? But that's how it works. And I can tell you 100%, if you have a budget for your affiliate program for the month, it means that you're not 100% on top of your numbers. You don't know how long it will take you to make that money back. You don't know how much, like how profitable you are in every single campaign. And you don't know what you don't know. Like, it's wild to me. You can have like an average of how much you spend a month, but you don't stop campaigns. Like, you do not stop campaigns if they're profitable, especially if you, like most of iGaming, based on rev share, hybrid, or CPA at best. Technically, there is very little risk in all of those. Even CPA, like the level of risk compared to other verticals is minimal. So for you to stop a campaign halfway through the month, to me, it's just like mind-blowing.
Yeah, that's a pain that we've seen, especially, or even in best reviews where we deal with software, dating, medical alert systems, virtual phone systems. You also feel that the advertisers aren't as invested as you are in the partnership.
Okay.
Because you're bringing those results. They know you can bring those results, and it's something that you have there for the long term. And then they tell you that you have this monthly budget, and you can bring as many results over that budget as you want, but then you won't feel the benefits of what you brought to the table.
Yeah.
Because they cut your legs halfway through, you know.
I can see with dating, right? If you're not working on a rev share, most of the dating, like, it works on PPL, right? And especially because the traffic for review sites is so expensive. It's quality. 100% is quality. But it's so expensive that a lot of the time, like, to back out that lead is hard. it takes a long time. So that one I can kind of see. But when you're talking about a CPA or a rev share, why? Why would you like cut the cap?
Yeah. In investors, I think the commission plan that we see the most is CPA.
Okay.
And it's definitely weird, when you have those numbers that you're expecting and they tell you have a monthly budget.
And you have to cut the campaign.
Yeah.
But you're generating sales. And those sales have a estimated projection.
If you go overboard that budget, like you won't reap the benefits of what you're sowing. And it feels a little unfair as publishers to be on that receiving end.
On the advertiser side, because yes, you don't have unlimited money. But what you have to do, and this is something I usually advise to people, is focusing on the quality publishers. If you genuinely only have this much cash flow, then work with less people. Let them run while they're bringing you the results. So allow them to scale. And then cut off the people that are not as profitable. And sometimes you'll lose, sometimes you'll win as the publisher. But I think it gives you incentive to work harder for those people. That would be my advice. If someone is working with you and they have because everyone has cash flow, right? And they have a certain amount of money that they cannot go over a month because that's how much the CFO gave them and for budget, then don't work with as many publishers. Work with the right ones that are bringing you profit, that are bringing you quality, and then let them get more cap. I think it's a relationship. It's a conversation that should always be ongoing.
Definitely, yeah. We always struggle with that and feeling that brands aren't as invested as we are in the partnership.
Which is wild.
Maintaining that relationship and just, keeping the discussion going, seeing what we can do. And this goes back to tracking and everything and having the correct information and not just Excel sheets that get manually updated and everything else. And in terms of the advertiser side, what sort of affiliate partnerships do you see the most value in? We are mostly content publishers, so we're a little biased on that end.
It just depends. I always tell people, focus on what you're good at. You can have in one program 10 totally different traffic sources, and they can all be profitable. One versus another, content publishers are amazing, beautiful quality, because that is a very warm lead, right? It's not the same if I see a banner while I'm watching a video and then I click on the banner and then I go to the land or whatever, to where I have invested, some of my time watching a review or reading a comprehensive review. That emotional investment makes conversion much higher, right? But it's also traffic that is way more expensive. So I can have the banner guy just sending me thousands of leads, but also at a lot cheaper price. So I'm still profitable. I don't think there is a one-fits-all type of publisher. It's just understanding. That's why numbers are so important. Just to give you an idea, when I was on the advertiser side, I could see at a payment level what affiliate was bringing prepaid cards, who was bringing because it was a subscription model. And you need to understand who's your quality. So if you have an affiliate that is bringing you thousands of sales, but they're one-time sales because it's all prepaid cards, guess what? That customer lifetime value is not going to be there. It's not going to be recurring. So it looks good on paper, but it's not going to mature well. It's not going to age well. Then you can have another guy that brings you 10% of the sales, but there are people that stay forever. That's what you need to look at. And if you don't have your numbers, you're toast.
Yeah. It also comes back down to the education and knowledge. Because as you mentioned, affiliate marketing, it feels like everyone has a program these
but
days.
not everyone knows how to run a program.
Yeah, and as publishers, going back to what we were talking before, brands will come to us, or we'll go to brands where we see potential, and then we have to do these educational, because we know that the lifetime value of the customers that we can bring them will be more than those affiliates that are bringing thousands of sales, one-time sales, while ours will stay for a long term. So yeah, it's a conversation.
It's crazy that you have to educate them that much. Like, that is insane to me. Because for me as the advertiser, it always felt that I had to be like constantly, I'm like, and this is what works, and this is how our product works. And if you give me this is what's likely what's going to do. So to hear that is a struggle on the publisher side is wild. In fact, because I hated negotiating with publishers so much, like I remember at the time we had like a self-predicting form that already understood how much you were likely to make on the customer lifetime value and would increase the publisher pay immediately. So at any given point, I will pay you as much as I could pay you, so you never ask me for a raise. Like, and that was like, to me, fair, right? If I want to run like my acquisition costs at like 30%, sweet. I already know if I'm paying you per lead, I already know what my acquisition costs for those conversions are. I can split that at a lead level, boom, profitable campaign. And I could always run my stats and understand how profitable I was. And you know, some publishers, magical unicorn traffic, and you're like, you know what? Okay, I don't have to run at 30%. I can run at 20% because the quality is here and it's going to help me long term. Like, but that should always be on the advertiser side. Like, I feel, right? Because for the publisher, your job is to constantly be looking for better ways to promote the advertiser. If you're wasting your time having to educate the advertiser, that's time you're not investing into better campaigns, more creative angles. Like,
we spend more time negotiating than actually doing the work.
The job of the advertiser is to free you up to do what you do in whatever way they can. And when we opened Rock Ahead, we did it kind of like that, where it was to not negotiate with the advertiser. There is a math algorithm behind every single API that predicts where I'm going to make the highest EPC. Done. And like, it already, because it's API submission, it already keeps in mind, you know, someone can be paying me $10 a lead, but they only take 5% of the traffic. All you're doing is causing a delay, because that 5% that you're paying me for, I'm still dealing with 95% that I still have to reroute. So if somebody else could be paying me, I don't know, $2 a lead, but they're taking 75% of the traffic, guess what? They're number one. Yeah. Because they can convert everything even at a much lower cost. And this is something that I struggle to talk to people, because it's still like, you have to learn how to monetize everything to be able to pay less. And that comes with like the cross promotion, the selling of traffic that doesn't convert, the becoming an affiliate yourself and sending traffic to your competitors, because also it gives you amazing insights on their conversion rates and their lifetime value. So I think as an advertiser, you have to learn how to play the game so that you can better service your affiliates. But I think it's wild, because the job of the network or the advertiser is to make your life as easy as possible so that you can focus in doing what you do best, which is promoting the products.
Yeah, and I think it also depends not only on the vertical, but also on the geographical market. For example, Best Reviews, we mostly deal with US-based companies, or even if they're European, their target audience will be in US. And the knowledge there in terms of affiliate marketing will be more developed. We don't have to do as much education. In the iGaming, depends a little still, I think. But for example, we have finances, which deals mostly in Belgium market. Okay. And we deal with financial services. So we go to banks and we do that education. We have that conversation and we try to bring them aboard and try to show them what affiliate marketing can do for them. So it also depends on the market, and then you have to.
So I'm doing the same thing in finance, but in South America, which is like 50 years behind. Like, it is wild how little people know. Then you go to the US and it's normal that a bank would be like, yes, here's the API. These are the data points that I need. And then you know how to build your landing pages and pre-qualify before you like reroute anyone to any service. And then when you go to South America, it's like as basic as it gets. It's like, oh no, I would let you know if it converted. I'm like, no, buddy, that's not how it works. Like, I need to know if you're likely to convert way before, so I know if I should send you the traffic or not. So what I did was, with Rock Ahead, we use dating because it's the most insane vertical to train our backend. And now we use that backend across different verticals. And with dating, everyone is used to an API. But then when you go to finance, it depends on the geo. So there is a lot of that education, like it's hard. But then there is like a lot of different things that you can do as a publisher. Then you can do your own like email campaigns, and then you can sell them email drops instead of like necessarily the campaign as a publisher. Or you can cross-sell to that same database. You can use push notifications to like cross-promote and test other stuff with the same exact traffic, because you're still paying to get that traffic, right? And it's like, if you just send it to the bank and they don't convert it, and let's be serious, when it comes to finance, no bank has optimized flows. No one. It is wild that some of them even convert. You really, really, really want to get that loan in order to go in, because they don't know what they don't know. And banks understand banking, but they do not understand marketing. So when you're marketing a bank, it is very, very difficult to get them to look into the conversion rates, to see the flows, to see everything. So yeah, there I understand the education part of it.
You can take the basis of your strategy. So for us at Clovio, across all of our brands, the basis of things is quality, informative content, reviews, etc. And that's what we take to brands as value, that we bring quality traffic that informs visitors and grabs them when they're looking for certain things. But then you also have to make them see the other side of things. And as you mentioned, you can do other things. Finances, we experiment a little more than we do on Best Reviews, I think, with the website and the features that we implement to try to get those conversions. So again, it always comes back down to numbers, tracking, and being able to educate the ones that need the education to see the value of what you bring to the table.
But it's brutal. I saw something today that content pubs were sending their pitch deck and all of this, trying to educate. But then on the flip side, when asked about performance, they will ghost. And I wanted to ask you your opinion, because I see that from an advertiser, like that's a red flag right there. Because it's very hard for you to go and tell someone, it's like, hey, I have all these opportunities. But then if, okay, what's your average like conversion rate? What's your average like EPC? All around, and then you're like, no, that's not for you to know. I'm like, okay, like I kind of need to know a ballpark. I don't need you to give me a detailed explanation of all my competitors and do the market research for me, but I need to have a ballpark. Like for me, I know like if a certain vertical in the US on this age range on an iPhone, that's going to be worth about $2. Like CPC or like EPC. Like that's what they need to know. Is this something that you see a lot, that they come back to you asking performance stats?
Yes, perhaps not immediately, perhaps a few months back.
Okay.
From now, they'll remember that we had this conversation and they'll come back to us and ask for performance details. And you need to have those if you want things to, to move forward. If not, you're just wasting both parties' time.
But it's hard for you to have those stats if they're not giving them to you.
Yeah, it'll have to come from your internal numbers, your own internal reporting, and seeing brands that are most profitable, ones that aren't, where you can get the most value. It's really just benchmarking internally. So then you can also present that to the brands that ask. And you know that most of the brands that ask are the ones that are perhaps the most invested, actually, in their affiliate marketing, not the ones that just have the budget and they throw the budget at you.
And hope, just pray for magic.
Yeah, but then they aren't invested in the long term. And that's important for us as publishers, the long term, having an ongoing relationship. Perhaps the budget won't always be the same. It won't always be high, but doing the best with what we have and always like keeping things flowing.
And that's the thing. Sometimes you work with a smaller advertiser, but if you help them grow, you're part of the success story. And when there is more budget, ideally, it should come to you, right? Because you were there from the beginning, you help them grow. And as they grow, you should be able to grow with them. That's the theory. Doesn't always happen. And I know, because it's happened to me so many times, that I'm there at the beginning and you pretty much feel like you're doing free consulting. And then once they have enough budget, they're like, oh, thanks for the shoes. See you never. And you're like, okay, like this is an investment. And when you're investing as a publisher in an ideal world, it should come back to you once the brand is doing better and the program is doing better. With more cap, with better conversations, with exclusive deals, something. And that is something that I see a lot of advertisers forget about. Like when they're little, they promise you the world. But once they get big enough, they don't care. Most of the times you don't even get to talk to the founders anymore. And then all you do is talk to the flavor of the week affiliate manager that doesn't understand what's going on or have no reference for like historical of the deal. And they just treat you so poorly that it's almost offensive. And I think that is like a big mistake that I see happen way too often. Is that your experience as well?
I'd say so in part, yeah. I think it's important to go beyond the numbers. It's the relationship at the end of the day, especially those long-term ones where we've been here since the beginning of both their brand, our brands, and then affiliate managers change, program changes internally, and things don't flow the same.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't affect only us, but also them, because the value isn't the same anymore. We're not getting what they could be getting out of us.
I've seen it. When I first started Rock Ahead, there was this particular advertiser that I found on LinkedIn. And I was like, oh, I've been in this vertical forever. I'm like, oh, me too, whatever. But their company was smaller and my company was smaller. So we were working very closely. And we got to like, I think we're making about $100K a month in sales. Eventually, the affiliate manager changed on my side. The affiliate manager changed on their side. And little by little, that account went from 100K to like, I think today they don't even make 1,000 a month. And you know, because you know that if you do it yourself and if you talk to the owner of that brand, like you can get to know better, but there's just so much you can do. And it's a struggle to get both sides aligned and the information flowing the right way so that you can keep that scale. Because it is difficult. So I have been on both sides of that coin. And it's just a reality that you have to live with. Ideally, everyone will be on top of their brand. Everyone will be on top of the numbers. Everyone will be creative. But it's not the case.
Yeah, it's important, I think, above all, to have those numbers, those relationships, and that historical data, as you were mentioning. I think perhaps in the past, we didn't have as many platforms, as many tracking opportunities as we had. So a lot of things got lost in the details, in the mix, changing affiliate managers, etc. And sometimes that can make things harder to happen nowadays, when maybe you can tell from your side that things went well, but from their side, they can tell the same because they don't have that historical data.
Okay, yeah.
So that can also complicate things. At the end of the day, it's a little about relationships above all in affiliate marketing.
No, and talking to each other. Sometimes I will see a new affiliate manager come into our account and be like, oh, I see at one point you were making $400,000 a month. And I'm like, yeah, but you are also accepting 80% of my traffic. Like, you optimize yourself into oblivion. Like, I cannot make that level if you're not working with me. So even if they have access to the data, I think there is a lot of like facts missing. It's like, oh, I see that there is potential in the account. Yes, there is potential in the account, but you're also fighting the rest of the world for that identical traffic. So unless you're talking very openly and honestly, because this is also an industry where everyone is a big shot and everyone is the best and everyone does better than anybody else. But at the same time, nobody's willing to give you real numbers. And nobody's willing to talk straight with you, be like, hey, do not send me any Yahoo traffic because I suck at converting that. Nobody wants to own up to what they're not good at. And I think that is a big conversation to be had of just tell me what you're good at. I'll focus on sending you that. And then everything that is not that, I'll send it to somebody else that is good at that. And there is no harm on that. Like, you're giving yourself a better opportunity of more money. You're giving me a better opportunity of having the right EPCs and being able to acquire more traffic. And honestly, it doesn't make you less of a good advertiser, that you're not good at everything. Nobody's good at everything. Like, no flow is perfect for every device. No CRM is perfect for every ESP. Like, it is what it is. Like, be honest with yourself and be honest with your affiliates. I think that honesty part in the conversation is a big missing piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I think the management of expectations as well. Sometimes as publishers, you can tell brands, here's what works for us. Here's what maybe we can do that other brands are doing that works. And then they'll tell you that it's not possible. And then you'll tell them, okay, then.
Okay.
Then don't expect results that we're telling you, that we see with others, if we can't
do what we're doing
measures.
With others.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense.
Definitely.
But I think, yes, that conversation, the managing of the expectations, the just being transparent. Like, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And this is an industry where the more time you're in it, the more you learn. But then you want to be talking to someone that knows just as much as you do. Because then once there is a big disparity, the conversation just gets lost. And then you get sick and then you send them to someone junior too, because why waste your time? And that's how deals die.
Yeah, that's, I think, also why we focus a lot on having calls, one-on-one or with more members of the team. So you can really delve into things, talk about things, build a relationship, and really manage your expectations. And it's easier to perhaps do it on a call than on an email where things get lost and then you're just repeating the same thing over and over and going in circles. So yeah, it's all down to relationships.
I know. I hate phone calls. Like, this is like my biggest flaw. I hate phone calls with passion. But I know. Like, I see it. I get on a phone call. Like, you can be on like the most passive aggressive, like, chat with 10 people. And then you get in one phone call. And suddenly, like, they realize the potential, the deal growth. Like, it's much easier to convey everything that is happening and everything that could potentially happen on a phone call. I just suck at it. But, like, if absolutely necessary, my team always knows they can drag me into a phone call, no problem. And, like, very likely will walk away from that phone call in a happy place. But if I can avoid them, I will. And I think that's why I do so much public speaking, why I love conferences. I love that FaceTime that you can have with somebody else, because it's always better than a phone call. And I think a lot of like my own LinkedIn strategy has been avoiding phone calls as much as I can. I will tell you everything I know. You can ask me anything you want. I just don't want to be on a phone call.
Yeah, we do a lot of video calls, so we can also have that face-to-face, not so much in person.
Yeah.
Now it's hard when you're dealing with international brands, but it's also better than a phone call. You can get a little more clarity into what the other person is feeling, if they're confused, if everything's clarified or not.
No, and you can read like
Yeah.
It's second best for a face-to-face meeting. No, when I do phone calls, it's always video calls. Like I don't think these days I have a call that is not a video call. But if needed be, I do it. But I've seen it. I'm very assertive when I'm chatting. So a lot of the time seems like I'm very evil. And then people will go and meet me at a conference and like, I've been told so many times, like, you're so much nicer in person. I'm like, I'm the same person. I'm just, I can be funny and I can tell you something. Like sometimes I'm chatting and then like, I can be very assertive. But if I tell you in person with a smile, then you don't take it too hard. It's not as aggressive. But it is what it is. I know this is something that I personally struggle with. And it's like, it's become this big joke, how much I hate phone calls. And now because I do so many demos, I'm on phone calls every single day of my life, which is a brutal personal experience, but I'm growing. I'm like working through the pain.
Powering through. Yeah, thank you, Jenny. I think we had a great discussion. Any closing thoughts that you'd like to share?
I think affiliate marketing is not for the weak of heart, but it is one of the most rewarding industries you could ever get into on any side of the equation, as an advertiser, as a network, or as an affiliate. So understand what you're doing, understand your numbers, and you can't optimize what you don't track. So track away.
Definitely. And how do you see things evolving, actually?
I think as acquisition costs get higher, more and more people, I've seen like the full pendulum swing. Everyone drove away from rev share, and now everyone is getting back to rev share. And I think that's where I see everything evolving. More verticals, more businesses going towards affiliate marketing because it's a great tool to grow once you, like, for as long as you don't have the resources internally. And even after, it's just a great channel. But I see more and more. It's going to become more mainstream. More and more people are going to start talking about it. I think content creators and influencers will realize that their affiliate marketers are hard. They just haven't understood tracking yet. And it's going to become a more widely spread, like, channel for acquisition. That's where I see everything evolving.
Yeah, sounds like an exciting future, but a hardworking one.
Hardworking, but I mean, with AI and with everything, I think so many people are going to be left wondering what they want to do, how they want to do it, and how to live their life. And more, I see a lot of like more solo businesses being created and more people going towards affiliate marketing as a channel to grow those small businesses.
Yeah.
My prediction.
Great insights. Yeah. Well, thank you, Jenny. It was a pleasure having you on and having this conversation.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to our next talk.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll be back.
Thanks for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and leave us a comment. See you in the next one.